All right, health professionals, if you're looking to transition from a clinic into a virtual practice and you're wondering, well, how long is it going to take to replace my in-person salary? That's what I want to cover for you in this video, so let's do this. Hey guys, what's going on? Yuri Elkaim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. Rocking the headphones today because I'm at my standing desk, and that's not what this is about. This is about helping you transition from the clinic to virtual. Just in case you don't know who I am, again, my name is Yuri, CEO of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals get clients and scale their businesses online. We are the best at what we do, and if you're the best at what you do, I think this can help you. So, recently had a question come to me, a physiotherapist who said, I've been in business for many, many years. I have a lot of experience in person hands-on, but I want to transition online. How long is it going to take me to replace my in-person income? Okay, so it depends on the in-person income, but let's just be like super generous and let's just say $100,000. So $100,000 a year, and I wish I had my calculator. Now it depends on the again, the average patient visit load on a weekly basis, but let's say that I believe the average for a lot of physios and chiropractors is in the neighborhood of like 50 to 80 patient visits a week, okay? From what I can recall. I'm just gonna bring up my calculator on my screen here, and let's just say that you did 50 patient visits a week, and on average, and let's say you were amazing, like let's say, so 50 visits a week times $100 each, 5,000, and let's multiply that by 52 weeks. That's 260,000. So let's just divide that by half. All right. So let's just keep it simple. $100,000. You're looking to replace that. Okay. So number one is you have to understand, and I've mentioned this before, that it is infinitely easier. Let me repeat this: infinitely easier to build your brick and mortar. It is easier to get busier in your clinic. And that's exactly why I hear this all the time. Oh, I'm great. My practice is full. I have a waiting list of 3 months. Great job. You don't have a business. Let me tell you why. If you have a waiting list, that means everyone depends on you. If you have a waiting list, that means you have a suffering list of a lot of people who are not being served by you. And if your practice is full, what happens when you take off for a week? Nothing happens. You don't get paid, they don't get helped. That's called a job. So let's not celebrate the whole full practice fallacy. With that said, it's easier to fill a practice in person because people can build trust with you so much faster. They can walk by your clinic and see, oh, physical therapy office, let me walk in. Online, none of that happens. Online, no one trusts you. Online, no one's going to see your stuff. Online, there's a whole new range of skills you have to develop. All right, so I'm doing a really good job here at selling this whole virtual dream, right? Well, with all that said, anything great is challenging. And I promise you this, from someone who spent 12 to 14 hours a day in person, one-on-one for 7 years, I would never, ever trade the journey of what I've built online to go back to that, ever. Did I say ever? Ever. The amount of freedom, the amount of impact, the amount of wealth I've been able to generate, the ability to walk my kids to school and pick them up, the ability to take a day off if I want to with zero repercussion on our business, or take a week off or a month off, while my clients still get great results. Like, you have to understand that the medical model is built around slavery, of trading time for money, and it's an inescapable, unsustainable, and unscalable model. It relies 100% on your time. If you're a psychotherapist, psychologist, physical therapist, medical doctor, chiropractor, massage therapist, dietitian, nutritionist, naturopath, osteopath, podiatrist, like, do I need to go on? Every single one of these professions, which by the way are frigging amazing, are all tied one-to-one. And that's not your fault. It's the model we've all been taught into. And I know I'm going off a little bit of off on a bit of a tangent here, but hopefully this is important to understand. Because what I'm sharing with you is that for me to replace what I was making in person online took me 3 years. But I was a little bit slow up here, if you know what I mean, because I thought, hey, I'm going to figure this all out by myself. I'm smart. I was a magna cum laude, I think. What does that say? I don't even know what that says. High honors, whatever. I'm like, I can figure this out if I was super smart in school. And I was a little bit slow up here because I thought, well, I don't need help and I'll just do what I want to do. It took me 3 years. I was making poverty line income for 3 years online. I tell my clients who work with us now, and this is back in 2005, okay? So I've been online for like, 16, 17 years. I tell my clients now, I'm like, you guys are so much farther ahead, even if you're 6 months, 8 months, 12 months in, than I was for like 4 years. And I remind them, I'm like, listen, like anything great takes time. If you're not where you want to be in 6 months, how many years did you go to medical school for? How many years did you go through naturopathic college for? Were you a naturopathic doctor in 6 months? No. So I help them remember, like you can build, our goal is to help our clients build a $1 million business or more within 1 to 3 years of working with us. Now that can happen very quickly as it has, and it can also take longer as it has as well. We have clients that do now more than $100 million in revenue. We've got clients that are doing $5 million a month, and we have clients that are doing $50 a month, right? And everywhere in between. So really what it comes down to is you, the individual. Because how is it possible? And we all know this, right? We have clients, you have clients that work with you and some get better, some don't. What's the difference? It's really, especially in a self-directed coaching type of business, it has to be on the client. If you are a massage therapist and you do all of the hands-on work for your clients and they don't do anything between your sessions with them, well, they're heavily relying on you. But if you empower them to do some soft tissue work, some stretching, some whatever other stuff they're going to do to improve the quality of their tissues, they're going to see better improvements. And that's exactly what we help our clients do in a virtual setting. Because if you're a physical therapist, like we have a client, Charlie, physical therapist who had been kind of dabbling online for about 1.5 years. COVID hits March 2020. All of a sudden he finds us and he starts working with us. The most he made in his practice was $10,000 a month. Within 3 months of starting with us, he was doing $24,000 per month and growing from there online, helping women with sciatica. So how is that possible? How is it possible that he's making almost 3 times as much without seeing a single person in the flesh? And by the way, his clients were getting better results than he was providing them in person. 2 things to break down. Let's talk about the client results here. Number 1 is when your clients can't rely on you for your magic fingers, they have to do the work. And we all know that committed clients get better results. So that's a huge benefit of coaching clients through their transformation. They have to do the work. You keep them accountable, you give them the plan, and it's amazing. Second thing is monetarily is you have to move away from trading time for money. Like, I don't care if you charge $125 an hour in person, that's got to go. It's not sustainable, it's not scalable. So what we recommend is charging by the outcome. So if you're a physical therapist and you specialize in sciatica, number 1, how long would it take you to help a specific type of person with sciatica to complete resolution? Now you might say, Yuri, well, there's a lot of different factors. Exactly. And that goes into your selection of who you want to work with. Okay? So if you had, for instance, if you only got paid after you got your clients or results, who would be the best person to work with? So this is something I talk a lot about with my clients because I'm like, okay, so you help people with sciatica. Let's just use this as an example. And there's 2 versions of this person. Version number 1 is someone who's sedentary and who's had back surgery before. Let's just use that as an example. Okay. And then version 2 is someone who, let's just use version number 1 is they've had back surgery and for some reason that makes the protocol you take people through really challenging for them to improve upon. Or scenario 2 is they haven't had back surgery, they just end up sitting all day. Which of those 2 options would you most likely get better results with? Let's just say it was the version that didn't have the back surgery and sat all day. Cool. then you start there. And you don't help anyone else. That's it. But Yuri, I'm going to alienate people. But who cares? You weren't going to help everyone in the first place anyways, right? You have to understand that like there's only so much of you and your time to go around. Even in a leveraged fashion, if it's not one-on-one, you still can't help 10 million people, right? Even if you have the most incredible business, like maybe a couple 100,000, right? Maybe 1 million over time, who knows? So the first thing is understanding who can you be 100% confident that you can deliver a result to. And then you build your program around that outcome and you charge for the outcome. So let's say it takes 8 weeks for you to feel 100% confident that you can help this type of client achieve resolution of sciatica. Okay? What do you charge for that? Big mistake to avoid is you break down what it would cost to work with you by session. So let's say normally in person you work with people twice a week, 8 weeks, that's 16 weeks total, you charge $100, so it should be $1,600, right? 16 sessions times 100 each, $1,600. Therefore, the price of your outcome, your program is $1,600. Big mistake, because what happens now is people start to commoditize you. They're going to start to do the math, because if you, like a lot of people do on their website, what do? You get 10 one-on-one sessions with me. And the first thing they're going to do is they're like, oh, $1,600, I'm paying $100 per session. I'm going to go to the guy down the street that charges 75. They're going to commoditize you right away. So what you do is you say, well, it would be $1,600 in person, but this is better. You're going to get more support. You're going to get a community. You're going to get this. You're going to get this. So we'll call it 3,000. Yeah, just call it 3,000. And if you feel good at 3,000, call it 3,500. And if that becomes easy, call it 5,500. Now, so this is a long-winded, I know this video is, hopefully this is valuable for you, because these are the considerations you have to think about. So when we look at replacing your salary, $100,000 in person, let's just say that's a full-time workload on a weekly basis. $100,000, if you had let's say a $4,000 program, let's just meet somewhere in the middle. I'm just gonna do the math here, because apparently I can't do simple math in my head. 25 clients. 25 clients paying you $4,000. Okay, does that seem reasonable? Like, do you think over the course of 1 year, you could enroll 2 clients a month? Maybe not right away. Maybe in month 1, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Month 2, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Month 3, you're like, I think I'm getting a little bit better. 3, 4 clients a month. Do you think that is unreasonable? It's not. Like, we have a client in the Hashimoto space who's enrolling 1,200 clients per month at $7,000 each. Like, obviously that's a unicorn status, but it's crazy. It's possible. So 25 clients is not unreasonable. And we're not talking about full-time like burnout workload at this point. So how long does it take you to get there? That depends. It depends on 2 things. It depends on the model you're using, and it depends on your work ethic and exactly what you're doing with your time. So we, Healthpreneur, we help our clients build what we call a perfect client pipeline. I talked about this in many other videos. You can check them out on my channel. We don't waste time with social media, because if you don't have a following on social media, you will never, ever, ever get seen. It's downright depressing. TikTok was the last frontier. And about a year ago, when I started using TikTok, some of my videos went crazy. I was like, that's amazing. I've never seen this before. But since TikTok, this is what I've experienced, since TikTok has released their ad platform, it's turned into a pay-to-play platform, just like Instagram, just like Facebook, which means you can post all day, no one's gonna see your stuff. It's as simple as that. So with a perfect client pipeline, you're paying for clients, but you're paying for them at a profit. So if you charge $4,000, you're paying nowhere near $4,000 to acquire a client. Most of our clients, we'll bring clients in for, $300 to $600. On the high side, maybe $1,000, maybe $1,500 if their messaging and marketing is really off. But then we help them fix that to bring it way down. So what this allows is it gives you way more margin. It allows you to grow and attract clients literally predictably and on demand, because we're using paid traffic into a webinar. People get value and they consume your point of view and your approach to this topic area. If they resonate with you and they qualify to work with you, they book a call with you. On the phone, you just go through a conversation If you want to work with them, they want to work with you, you're like, cool, here's what it is, 4K, cool, awesome. That's too much, deal with that. Or it's like, yeah, let's do it. And we're in, right? Listen, I know I make it sound ridiculously simple. It's not, okay? It's simple, but it's not easy. There are nuances that, this is why we exist, to help, people like you get through this stuff. So the question was, how long is it going to take to replace my salary from in-person to virtual? It depends. Depends on your model. So if you run a perfect client pipeline, I promise you can get there. We have clients that started with us 3 months ago. Their second month, they're doing $38,000. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, you're not going to do that organically. You're not going to do that by posting on social. It's not going to happen unless you have a big following already. So how long does it take? It depends. It depends on the model. Part of your model includes your pricing. If you charge 25 bucks, it's going to take a long time. You charge 4,000, you're going to get there a lot faster. The second thing is what you're doing with your time. So I had a client who was saying to me, she's like, Yuri, like, I just feel like I don't have enough time in the day. And I asked her, I'm like, what are you doing with your time? Because your pipeline is deployed. So she built her pipeline. We built out the tech for her. And that's it. Like, you only need one pipeline to generate multiple millions of dollars of business. You spend a couple weeks building out the stuff for the pipeline, content, and then it's up. And then you run ads, and then you take calls and you enroll clients. So I asked her, I said, well, what are you doing with your time? Because if you're following what I recommend, it's going to take you 90 to 120 minutes a day to grow this sucker. And she's like, yeah, like I'm putting in like 8 to 10 hours a day. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to put in 8 to 10 hours a day. So this is what I say, what are you doing with your time? That's the big difference between those who are massively successful in any aspect of life versus those who are struggling. Those who struggle spend most of their time on things that don't move the needle, that don't make a difference. They're spending time on things that are $10 an hour tasks. They're avoiding the hard work. So I said to her, listen, there's 4 things we recommend our clients do once their pipeline's up. You write a new ad every day. Not because you have to launch a new ad, but it's the skill of writing and improving your messaging that is important. 2 is you work on your selling skills. You go through your script. You rehearse how to overcome objections. You learn how to deliver a better quote unquote pitch. Very important. Between those 2, right now we're at about an hour. Number 3 is you add value to your list, your email list. If you've got a Facebook group, if you have an audience, do like a video like this if you want to. But we don't even tell her don't have a YouTube channel, don't have a podcast, because this stuff is not going to work for 3, 5, 10 years, okay? And 4th is you have to master your metrics. You have to understand how your numbers break down. How many leads are coming in? What are you paying per lead? How many calls are booked? You have to know your numbers, because if you know your numbers, it gives you confidence to scale. If you don't know your numbers, you're lost. Those are the only 4 things. It takes 90 to 120 minutes a day. Outside of that, you're going to take on some enrollment calls, right? Whatever that number is going to be based on your calendar availability. And then outside of that, it's going to be delivering to clients. So between those 3 things, in terms of building $1 million business, we're looking at, maybe 6 hours a day, right? And that changes over time. But the reality is, you don't need to be grinding away to earn nothing. Focus on what matters most. So in our worlds, if you follow our model and you do the right work and you lean in for support and we help improve everything, you can transition to overshadowing your income in person in the matter of a couple months. But I can't promise that, because I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns, right? Your work ethic, is this going to get in the way, or is this going to propel you forward? The quality of your offer, your audience, all that kind of stuff. But I promise you is that if you devote the next 6 to 12 months to building your virtual dream, the rest of your life is going to look very, very different. One of our clients, Kevin, he started with us at the beginning, before the pandemic. He was making less than, I think it was like $800 a month. And I told him, I'm like, dude, you're too early. He's a health coach making $800 a month. He's like, no, you watch. 18 months later, he's more than $1 million in revenue. Okay, so this is what's possible when you have the right type of model, the right type of coaching, and the right type of work ethic. So I know this is a long-winded shit. It's like a 20-minute video already. Anyways, if this has been helpful for you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And if you want more tactical stuff on how to do stuff online, just watch all of the videos on my channel. You'll get a ton of value. Cool? So start there. I hope you have an amazing day. And if you've had this question, hopefully this answers it.